Hi everybody, my name is Kirupa. I'm a product manager at Google. For the next few minutes, I'm going to talk a little bit about who I am, what it is that I do as a product manager, how did I get here, and a bunch of other topics that might be relevant along the way. If I take many steps back and turn a clock back many years, I've always just wanted to help developers, the kind of people who build the apps we see on our phones and our TVs and everywhere else you pretty much see a screen. I like to play with computers from a very early age. I was playing a lot of video games. I was playing with some of the tools that came in to do some digital art. And then that naturally led to me learning how to program and build small apps and games on my own. And that led me to becoming a computer science major. And then I ended up working at companies like Microsoft for a long time and Salesforce and now at Google. And I've always worked in areas that were very close to what I really cared about, which is helping developers be successful. I enjoyed writing code and building apps. I wanted to help others be able to do this exact same thing. And that's what I worked on at all those various companies. And that's what I still work on even today. Now, back then, when I was doing all this, did I know that I wanted to be a product manager many years later? Absolutely not. Like I mentioned, I went to college, I studied computer science, and then I went to the career fair to figure out what I want to do for my summer internships. And because I'm doing computer science, I enjoyed programming, enjoyed designing. I typically applied to roles that fed into what I thought were my strengths. I applied to be a developer, and I didn't do really well in those interviews. I applied to be a designer. Did not do really well in those interviews as well. But I also applied to be a product manager because at that time, these were the three roles that typically fell into technology companies and what they were looking for. And as it turned out, I really did well in my product manager interviews. And it was very surprising, but as it turns out, it was actually more in line with what I was doing than what I thought I was actually doing. And so what does a product manager do? And so I decided to just look around, figure out what is the best answer here. Is there like a nice concise visual that I can use here? As it turns out, no. There's a lot of answers to what product managers do. There's a lot of written articles and words printed on what product managers do. And I even asked our AI assistant what a product manager does. It's a pretty wordy sentence. I'm going to get back to it though. So I'm going to simplify it quite a bit. So here we are. Here's the product manager, the happy smiley face you see on the screen. Now, for a product manager, there are many problems that need to be solved, a lot of questions that need to be answered, a lot of things that are unexplored that need to be explored. Now, here's the thing. You can only choose one of these question marks to go deeper into and solve what is under that area. Now, most product managers, they work in a business, they work in a company, and the goal of the company is to make money, is to grow and be successful. And the thing is, oftentimes a business will have its own ideas on what are important, what are the problems that need to be solved, which might be very different than the things that you might have in mind what needs to be solved. You look at this from a perspective of, I can empathize with who is going to be using the product. I know what their problems are. I want to solve it for them. As a product manager, the bulk of your time will be spent aligning between what you think is right based on what your customers think is right and based on what the business thinks is right, and finding a solution that everyone is happy with. And getting back to the long definition of what a product manager does, the product manager is the bridge between customer needs and business goals, translating insights into successful products that delight users and drive growth. That puts this visual we saw earlier a little bit more to perspective, where there are business goals, there's goals that I have in my mind of what needs to be done, but then we collaborate and get a consensus on what the final answer should be. So a typical day for a product manager like myself often varies between, doing great things, feeling really amazing about the progress you made, the team made, and so on. And other days it's a little bit more of just, dealing with the chaos and uncertainty that often comes with working in a fast-moving environment, especially as a product manager in technology. The simplest way of describing it really is that product management is an obstacle course, and obstacle courses are often unpredictable no matter how much you practice and you do well in them. And so early in your PM career, you're just starting off as a PM for the first time, the way it's going to be is very straightforward. You're going to have a problem and you're going to have people to help you solve them, very narrowly scoped, very well-defined problem space. Later in your PM career, you'll have multiple paths for solving a problem. There'll be multiple problems to solve as well. And it's up to you to navigate this obstacle course of things that are going to work well and paths that you might take that might lead to a dead end, and you don't want to do that. And every opportunity here, the more you practice, the more you get better at it. Now, then you get to the point in your career where it's much later. The obstacle course isn't really well defined at all. You're placed in the middle of a very complicated scenario. There's a destination somewhere, you don't know where it is, and you have to use all of your years of training, all of your wits and skill to figure out how to navigate. And some of these paths are actually going to be very unfortunate for you to get down. You want to avoid the roadblocks. You probably want to avoid the sharks as well, and all the other things along the way. And the thing is, as you become a PM, as you become more experienced at working with other people, being able to understand the situation, understand the context, understand what the business truly needs, you become much better at navigating all these various obstacles that will be naturally available. And the main thing really is teamwork. You want to make sure that you're part of a team that shares your values on what is the right thing to do for the customer and for the company. You have a manager who's very supportive of your goals, and you have individuals that can actually question and challenge you when they feel that you're not thinking about a problem in the right way. Teamwork is a critical element of it. So if I had to summarize a lot of what I described right now, it really helps to work on something you really enjoy working on. I had always enjoyed building apps and writing code and doing things that developers do. And so getting to work both at companies and on products in those companies that help developers is just a blast. It makes every day just a whole lot of fun. The PM role, the product management role, requires you to work in ambiguity, and it is your goal to help bring that clarity. And if you enjoy those kind of opportunities, you will love product management. And the last part, which is probably the most important thing, independent of what you end up doing with your career, it's always surround yourself with good people, managers, colleagues in other disciplines, mentors, and so on, to help you do what you want to ultimately do. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to post in the comments, and I will be happy to take a look and answer them very, very quickly. All right, good luck, everyone.